A cod is any of three species in the taxonomic genus Cadus. The Atlantic, Pacific, and Greenland cod make up the group. The Atlantic and Pacific species in particular have important commercial value. Cadus also contains a fourth species that people do not refer to as a cod, the Alaska pollock. Description of the cod. This fish has a torpedo-shaped body with a somewhat pot-bellied appearance. Their scales typically have dull coloration ranging from deep green to silver or gray. The scales on the upper side of their bodies have darker coloration than their underbellies. Though size varies from species to species, most fish measure between 2 and 4 feet long. The heavier species reach about 88 pounds, though some weigh closer to 30 pounds. Interesting facts about the cod. People consider these fish an important commercial species. Learn more about what makes them unique, below. The first one, record holder, the largest recorded member of Cadus measured 6 feet long and weighed over 200 pounds. This unusually large specimen came from the Atlantic population. The second one, cod collapse. Overfishing of some populations of Cadus have resulted in severe decline in the past. In some areas, populations dwindle to seriously low numbers and have yet to recover. The third one, unique features. You can differentiate these fish from other species by looking at their dorsal fins on their backs. All three species have 3 separate dorsal fins from the middle of their backs to the base of their tails. The fourth one, shoal scout. These social fish live in large groups known as shoals, or schools. Within the schools, larger individuals have higher places on the social hierarchy. The largest fish serve as scouts for the shoal and lead the rest of the fish. Habitat of the cod. The different species in this group live in similar habitat types. They occupy saltwater habitats and prefer benthic habitats, or habitats near the seafloor. You can also find some species in brackish water, or mixed salt and fresh water. They prefer coastal habitats relatively close to shore, though they do range into waters as deep as several thousand feet beneath the surface. Distribution of the cod. Each of the 3 species has a different range. The Atlantic species lives in the Atlantic Ocean and ranges from the northeast coast of North America to Greenland and across to Europe and western Russia. As you might guess, the Pacific species occupies the Pacific Ocean, primarily the northwest. Finally, the Greenland species lives near the coast of Greenland and northern Canada. Diet of the cod. These fish have carnivorous feeding habits, which means that they prey on other animals. As opportunistic hunters, they eat virtually anything that they can catch and swallow. Younger fish feed on plankton, shrimp, and other small creatures. Adults hunt for small fish, squid, worms, and a variety of invertebrates. Cod and human interaction. Humans utilize all 3 species as a source of food. They are commercially important fish, and the fisheries in many areas rely heavily upon these fish. People commonly eat this fish, and also use its liver in the production of cod liver oil. Unfortunately, fishing pressure has historically resulted in severe population declines in these fish. The IUCN currently lists the Atlantic species as vulnerable, and has not assessed the other species. Domestication. Humans have not domesticated this fish in any way. Does the cod make a good pet? No, you would not want to keep any of the 3 species as a pet. They live in saltwater habitats and reach quite large sizes. For this reason, housing them is time-consuming and requires a large extensive saltwater tank setup. Cod Care. Many aquariums house these fish to educate the public on the dangers of overfishing and teach guests about regulation of commercial fisheries. Programs like Monterey Bay Aquarium Seafood Watch teach guests how to make informed decisions when purchasing seafood. Aquariums house the fish in massive saltwater tanks, often with a variety of other species alongside the schools of cod. They feed the fish smelt, capelin, squid, and a variety of other aquatic prey. Behavior of the cod. These social fish live in groups, known as schools or shoals. The schools move long distances, undergoing migrations in response to prey movement, water temperature, and breeding. Within the school, these fish form dominance hierarchies based on size. The larger fish have more dominant behavior and retain rights to better food and mates. Reproduction of the cod. During the breeding season, these fish utilize complex breeding strategies that researchers do not fully understand. Scientists believe that they use sound production, in the form of drumming, to select their mates. Females release batches of eggs, and the male fertilizes those eggs. Once fertilized, the eggs drift away, hatching after 2 or 3 weeks into larval fish. Some fish mature faster than others, depending on their sex, species, and where they live. Populations mature at less than 2 years in some cases, and more than 6 years in others. Cool facts about codfish. First one, what type of animal is a codfish? An Atlantic cod is a fish that comes under the Gadus family, mostly found in the north, and is simply referred to as a cod. This Atlantic cod can live up to 25 years, while attaining sexual maturity at a young age of 2 to 4 years. Cod in the Arctic side of the waters take a maturing time of 8 years. The second one, what class of animal does a codfish belong to? A cod belongs to the Actinopteridae class. There are two common types of cod. Atlantic cod is found in the North Atlantic Sea waters, and the Pacific cod is situated eastern and western sides of the Atlantic. Third one, how many codfish are there in the world? According to a recent study, only 100 adult cod remain in the North Sea. The fourth one, where does a codfish live? A cod is generally found in a vast ocean like the Pacific Ocean or north of the Atlantic Ocean. Adult cod can be located under the bottom of the sea from 21 to 200 feet. The fifth one, what is a codfish's habitat? An Atlantic cod habitats vary. A cod is usually found under waters of rough ground having 660 meters of depth or 80 meters on average. The sixth one, who do codfish live with? An Atlantic cod feeds on sand eels, haddock, squid, crabs, worms, and hence, they mostly swim around the bottom of the sea as it's an ideal place for them to find food. The seventh one, how long does a codfish live? An Atlantic cod may live around 15 to 25 years provided they are not victims of human prey. The demand for this cod is on a rise, and its population is under threat. The eighth one, how do they reproduce? Cod usually reproduce in a 1 to 2 month season of spawning annually. February and April are the months where a spawning activity takes place. Females can produce more than 9 million eggs. Male fish fertilize the eggs after a female releases gametes. Ninth one, what is their conservation status? Atlantic cod is going extinct and comes under the vulnerable status as they are being hunted by humans. So, today we are talking about some details about codfish. Thanks for watching, subscribe for more videos.